Functions of behaviour infographic is to define the 4 functions that all behaviours fall under. There is a reason why learners act how they act, why they behave the way they behave. All behaviour, positive or negative, communicates a need. Knowing the reason helps to understand that need. If we know the reason, we know why the behaviour is occurring. The why is the function. The support team can figure out a more appropriate alternative or replacement behaviour to teach the learner once they know the function of the behaviour of concern. If the function isn't clear, the support team may need to collect data to determine the function. There are 4 functions of behaviour: attention, escape, sensory, and tangible. When trying to determine the function of a specific behaviour, the first step is to try changing the environment before the behaviour occurs. This is a preventative measure. The next thing to look at is if the behaviour is being reinforced, which means maintained, by the learner gaining something or getting rid of something, which is keeping the behaviour of concern to continue. To understand why a behaviour is happening, observe the learner. When the behaviour occurs, think about and write down what happened right before the behaviour and what happened right after the behaviour. This is called collecting ABC data. A is for antecedent, what happens before the behaviour. B for behaviour, the behaviour itself. And C for consequence, what happens right after the behaviour. Seeing this relationship helps to determine the behaviour's function. After collecting several data points, there'll likely be a pattern seen in when and why the behaviour occurs. For example, every time a learner is asked to put on their shoes, a request or a demand they don't want to do, they fall to the ground while screaming. The caregiver puts the learner's shoes on them. This would be an escape function, as the learner did not have to put on the shoes themselves. The carer did it for them. Attention occurs to receive the attention of others. Suggestions. Give lots of positive attention throughout the day when not engaging in the behaviour of concern. Teach more appropriate ways to get attention, such as a tap on the shoulder, raising a hand, giving positive reinforcement and outcomes for the more appropriate behaviour. Model appropriate behaviour and ignore inappropriate behaviour occurring for attention. Ignore by no eye contact and no conversation with the learner where safe to do so. Escape occurs to get away from or avoid something they don't like or want to do. Suggestions. Ensure the learner can do the expected task or activity. Make sure the task isn't too hard. Shorten the duration of the activity or decrease the size of the task. Give clear expectations. Offer choices. Use a first then board or a visual schedule. Provide frequent breaks and teach the learner to request a break. Mix easy and hard tasks or activities. Always come back to the task, activity or person the learner is avoiding when they are calm and prepared. Give lots of verbal praise when the learner completes the task. Follow through with the expectation. Sensory occurs because it gives a feel-good sensation. Suggestions. Teach learners self-regulation strategies. Provide alternative activities that give the same type of sensory input throughout the day. Teach replacement behaviours such as tapping fingers rather than flapping hands. Reinforce behaviours that are incompatible with the behaviours of concern, such as keeping hands folded instead of flapping them. Redirect the learner to other activities when behaviours of concern occur. Tangibles occur to gain access to something that can be touched or picked up. Suggestions. Teach the learner to request or ask for. Make sure the learner has plenty of opportunities to access the items in positive ways. Give warnings before transitions. Give choice of 2 other items. Use visuals to display how many times the learner can have the item each day. Teach the learner to be okay with no. Do not give learner the item when they exhibit the behaviour of concern. This depends on safety. Use first then strategies, for example, first clean up, then snack. It's important to remember that everybody wants attention to avoid tasks, seek sensory input, and access to tangibles. For example, the adult who checks email to avoid doing laundry or completing that work report, or the adult who twirls their hair when nervous or unconsciously shakes their leg or foot. It's also important to find the correct function of behaviour. The way the behaviour looks doesn't always tell us what the function of behaviour is. One behaviour could have many different functions, with running away as a great example. Sometimes running away is escape. For example, every time you say, "Time to put on your school uniform," the learner puts off that task.